The 2021 NBA playoffs have been great. They have been quite injury riddled and might have been much better with everyone healthy, but they still have been amazing. The predominant reason for this is the amount of talent in the league right now. Even with so many injuries, we have still been able to bear witness so many historic performances. Today, I'm here to appreciate the greatness of these playoffs and also talk about the injuries at the same time.
They be like, yeah. Can you teach me how to dirty? You know why? Cause all the bitches love it. All I need is a beat that's super bumpin'. And for you to back it up and dump it.
Leave a like on this video and subscribe if you haven't already. I preview all the playoff series and drop regular playoff content. And if that is something which interests you, do subscribe to the channel. Also shout out to Bsouls for leaving a tweet about this and giving me the idea for this video. So firstly, let's address the boring part, the injuries. Some big names whose injuries have played a part this postseason are Anthony Davis, Jamal Murray, Chris Paul for a while, Jaylen Brown, Kyrie Irving and James Harden. Kawhi Leonard is going to miss the series possibly due to his Achilles ACL injury and I hope he gets better. And Chris Paul is going through a health and safety protocol. So I'm sure even if Jaylen Brown was healthy, then Nets are going to breeze through the Celtics because of how incompetent the team has been this year. So I'm really not going to be spending much time on that. But two series which I genuinely believe would have been completely different results if not for these injuries are the Suns versus the Lakers and the Suns versus the Nuggets. Do not get me wrong. I'm rooting for the Suns to win it all, and anyone who has watched my previous videos or follows me on Twitter knows how much I love this team. But let's be honest, the Lakers got their groove back in Game 3 with AD, and they looked like their team in the bubble slowly but steadily again. AD was dominating the Suns, struggling with CP3's injury, which didn't end up playing a big part in the series, but they would have lost the series quickly, in my opinion. The Lakers were also very incompetent in the last three games, and players such as Devin Booker, DeAndre Ayton, and Cameron Payne stepped up with the injured CP3, which is actually a good thing for the Suns. The Suns deserved the series, and the way they played even after having their leader injured, and Devin Booker in particular deserves a lot of credit. But let's be real, with a healthy Anthony Davis, the Lakers would have taken in the series by 6 or 7. Moving on to the Nuggets series. I think the Nuggets would have taken it in 7 with a healthy Jamal Murray, but the way CP3 was dominating the series from mid range and Murray not really making a difference on the defensive end, I wouldn't be surprised if the Suns won this series. But adding another massive scoring threat alongside the MVP Nikola Jokic and having a hot Michael Porter Jr. coming off that Portland series is a scary thing for any team, and they would have been favorites in the West in my opinion with a healthy Murray. Kyrie Irving and James Harden's injury didn't really affect the Nets until Game 4 of the second round. The series got tied and people were doubting if Kevin Durant could do it alone after their Game 4 performance. Well, Kevin Durant did carry them with a historical performance which I will be talking about later in Game 5. But I believe Philadelphia is a much better coach team with Doc Rivers than the Bucks with Mike Budenholzer, and they will make a basic changes such as putting a defensive player of the candidate on Kevin fucking Durant, and I don't think Kevin Durant can carry them alone over Philly. Harden did return in Game 5, but everyone could see how unhealthy he looked. He couldn't take a proper shot and really doesn't look close to healthy in my opinion. Even Kyrie Irving, who sprained his ankle earlier this series, doesn't look like he'll be back anytime soon with the way it looked. I'm no doctor, but I can tell that both these injuries look real bad. And with the sensible Budenholzer, which seems like a lot to ask, the Nets might not even make it past the second round, and sure as hell will not be making it past Philly with at least two of them completely being healthy. Moving on, Kawhi Leonard has been questionable for the entire series, which is also not good for the Clippers because as good as PG has been in the last two games, I still don't really trust him enough to lead a playoff team in the second round against the first seed in a pivotal game. The Jazz might just take this series without a healthy Kawhi, and this might be a big blow. Even though Donovan Mitchell is injured, I trust the Jazz more without Kawhi Leonard on the team. All in all, the injuries have affected the playoffs quite a lot, much more than usual to be honest. But guess what? It isn't really being talked about. And I don't blame the media for not talking about it because there's been a really much better narrative going around at this point. And this is the number of amazing performances being put by individual players in the playoffs right now. The number of masterclasses put in this playoffs is ridiculous. Ja Morant had a 47-point pick and roll masterclass against the Jazz. He had 7 assists and shot 15 or 26 from the field. He attacked Rudy Gobert, the best rim protector in the league, continuously and got 20 free throws throughout this game. They lost this game, but this is a 20-year-old sophomore playing his first playoff series and his second career playoff game and demolished the best rim protector in recent history. Memphis fans are going to remember this game for a long time, and to be honest, if there weren't as many historical games as we have in this playoffs, we would too. Then there were two historic games from the same series from Kawhi Leonard and Luka Doncic. Kawhi Leonard won a win or go home game for the Clippers single-handedly. He absolutely killed the match from mid-range, which is his specialty, and they could not stop him whatsoever. He even locked down Luka Doncic in the clutch, and this was easily one of the best two-way playoff games in recent history. He shot 72% from the field and 55% from three, and was by far the best player on the court, even though his partner in time, Chris Paul George, didn't show up. And Luka Doncic, I can't say anything about him. Dude was playing at god level the entire series and absolutely shitted on the Clippers. He had 46, 14 and 7 and was absolutely sensational. He didn't show up in the clutch and wasn't in great form for the free throw line. But he was so amazing, and the more ridiculous part about this is the consistency he maintained throughout the series until this game. This might not be as historic as the others this playoffs, which seems ridiculous to say, but that's the amount of talent we have in the playoffs. Then came Damian Lillard's 50 bomb. Dame time is easily one of the funnest things to watch in NBA history. Lillard took over in OT in the end of the fourth, where he couldn't miss for shit, and Austin Rivers quite literally thanked God when Damian Lillard finally missed a shot, and that speaks for the level of greatness which was on display. This is a spiritual experience, as Kevin Durant put it himself. Jason Tatum also had a 50 bomb, but I didn't really watch the game, so I don't really want to try and talk about it. It was a historical Celtics performance, but the embarrassment the Celtics faced this series and the season overall overshadowed this exceptional Game 3 performance. Moving on to the second round. Yes, these were the number of historical performances we've had only in round 1. The second round has had only 2 historical games so far. Donovan Mitchell's exceptional carry job against the Clippers. The Jazz missed Conley on the night, and no one else in his team could shoot even slightly efficiently this game. Mitchell carried this entire game, putting up 45, 5 and 3, and he was the only player who could even hit a shot on the Jazz. He shot on 53, 40, 87 shooting, which is quite efficient. He beat the Clippers single-handedly on offense, and this was just ridiculous. And finally, the best performance in this playoff so far, the Slim Reapers 49, 17 and 10. As Kevin Durant put it himself again, this was a spiritual performance. This was Kevin Durant's best game ever in my opinion, and probably his most iconic. He played every single second in this game and led the Nets to one of the best comebacks we've seen in recent history. I don't know how to describe this performance, man. It was genuinely a spiritual experience. This was an absolute two-way masterclass. I know he was amazing offensively, but he doesn't get credit for the defense he played this game. He was technically the second rim protector or even their first at most of the game, and going against Giannis, that's a damn hard job. He was clutch, efficient, and he was Kevin effing Durant. This game put all of us in complete awe and reminded us that Kevin Durant is a basketball maestro and the best player in the world right now. Leave a like on this video and subscribe if you haven't already. I drop very regular NBA content and playoff content and preview all the playoff series. And if that is something which interests you, do subscribe to my channel.